Hi, it's Brogan here with the Capabling, and today I wanted to touch on stress. But before that, I just got some, I'm not sure if I want to call it good news, but I've got some good news. I'm going to work, going back to work, well, after it's been just over 4, 5 weeks of lockdown, and I'm feeling a little overwhelmed. It was it was kind of it wasn't completely off guard, but I never got the chance to prepare myself mentally. I never got to say, okay, Brogan, today's Friday, Monday's work, and you kind of get yourself ready, you get your work clothes out, and you kind of prepare yourself for it. And now my mind's racing about all the things that we need to do as soon as we get back, because as an industrial engineer, I feel like this will be one of our most crucial times. This will be one of the times where we really forced to show our worth. We forced to just bring certain things together within the context of whatever it is we do. And that'll be true for just about everyone. I don't think anyone will be left out of it, because the way the environment's being shaped and what COVID has done is it's forced a lot of things forward. One of the things that I'm most happy about, I know that seems a little strange, but one of the things COVID brought to SA was remote working arrangements. Now, before COVID, there wasn't really much drive towards getting people to stay at home and do whatever it is they're doing at home. But with COVID, it's forced that forward for the entire world, which is going to change so many industries so drastically, because the way the public transport sector, the way the transport sector in general is going to be affected, it's going to be tremendous. There's going to be less cars on the road. There's going to be less people traveling, which means what? Fuel prices got to drop. But that's around for another day. There's so much that's going to be impacted going forward. Not to mention the education industry, that's just going to explode if we use this opportunity to if we use this opportunity as a stepping stone rather than an anomaly. If we use this opportunity to say, okay, guys, these are the things we were able to do under the stress, under all that anxiety, under all that uncertainty, this is what we were able to accomplish. Now, when you take away that uncertainty, however long it may take, when we finally do overcome this, what then happens? What happens to that infrastructure, those systems? Do they then get let to go to the wayside, or do we capitalize on them? Do we take advantage of these things? Because do you understand the magnitude of what it means to have kids staying at home? Kids alone take up so much of the space on the road. And I'm hopping on this whole transportation thing, but it's a biggie. Kids take up so much space on the road that just before kids go back to school, you hear parents all over saying, oh, tomorrow the children are back to school, the traffic's going to be insane. What happens if we just took away 80% of kids? We said, you can stay at home. You can stay at home. Fair enough. Not everyone has the infrastructure to accomplish these things. But if we can start putting systems in place slowly but surely with those who can, the entire infrastructure of what it means to be at school changes. And that's not only primary school and high school, that extends all the way to university. This saves so much money. Transportation, infrastructure, feeding schemes, all that money can be repurposed to other things. Just how much can we save if we capitalize on this initiative? Okay, I went a little crazy there. I'm gonna step off. I'm gonna come back to stress. So I, much like most of you, have been feeling insane amounts of stress. You pull together your finances, you checking your bank statement. What do I need? What don't I need? What can I cut out? What can I live with? How can I bring in more money? Will I make it to next month? Because it it's so, everything is so connected, especially when it comes to people's finances, especially when you have people dependence on you. Everything becomes so connected that if that one link decides it's going to do its own thing, everything starts to fall apart, and that link is your salary. For whatever reason, if your company cannot pay you, or if they have a no work, no pay kind of deal, then you're in a fix. Because not many people have savings, just plain old savings. I myself barely have anything I can call savings. But on the upside, I don't have any dependents or things like that, so I'm also a little bit better there. But what happens to people who have dependents? There are people who are walking around just asking for food. They're happy just with a tin of fish. So these are the things which are, they're weighing on me, because I don't ever want to find myself in a position of being hungry. I was hungry like once in my life, once that I can really recall, where it was dry. I was living on other people's graces. It was my first year I went to Joburg. I think it was my second month, because the first month I got there with mom. Mom sorted everything out. She bought the groceries, she filled the fridge. Everything was good. It was the second month. So in my head, in my beautiful, wonderful head, I couldn't fathom going that long a period with food. When you put it in the fridge, it looks like the fridge is jam packed. And then in the final week, I found myself with, if I recall, it was a tray of some meats, and pretty much nothing else. Some rice, and that was about it. So I'm busy rationing my food, and it's just, I remember my head was spinning, because I couldn't now go back to my mom and say, "Oops, mom, I'm out of cash." That's not how my mom rolls, and that's just not how our family rolls. So fortunately, I had this friend Josh. Josh took care of me when I was in Joburg. Josh was essentially my mom that side. Really good friend of mine. I don't know why I never kept in touch. Anyway, that was the one time, and I must say, for that 2-3 days that I was living off Josh's graces, albeit I doubt he even knew he was just that generous a guy. I knew at that point that if there's one thing you don't ever want to experience, it's hunger. Like, things get real when your stomach is rumbling, and you can't even open your fridge and just get some old bread and peanut butter and jam and just, just make a lame sandwich. It doesn't even need to be special, like bread and sugar water. The breakfast of champions, just so you know. But hunger is something that it's a key driver for me. Like, I cannot imagine myself starving. That is one thing I cannot imagine myself starving. I cannot imagine my immediate family starving. I just can't imagine people starving. But we know what happens. As such, we need to put things in place that will prevent us from ever having to meet our fears head on. There are certain things that everyone fears. Personally, my partner fears going home. Like, her ass ain't going home ever. That's where we've drawn the line. She just ain't going home. She's not one of those people. For me, it's hunger. It's hunger and failure. Not so much failure in a sense of I'm fearful of being afraid. Homebrew. Not so much failure as in I'm fearful of failing, but I'm fearful in in that I'm scared that I'll give up. That's the biggest thing for me. And I've tried a ton of entrepreneurial endeavors. Like, there isn't a day that goes by where I'm not working on something or thinking about something new or trying to execute against something new. But my biggest fear is that one day I'll stop and I'll say, you know what, Brogan, that's a wrap. You're not cut out for this. Let's stop it right there. Let's put a pin in it. Let's say this is it. We cannot do no more. This is where we draw the line. And that's a day I never want to see myself, because I'm not sure what I'll do. I've built up so much confidence in myself in that I can get stuff done. Like, I'm that guy. I'm that guy. If I say I'm gonna get it done, you should assume it's done. That's me. And I absolutely hate if I cannot get it done. Regardless of the stress, regardless of how much effort, how much energy I'm putting into something, if I say this is gonna happen, I expect from myself that it happens. And when it doesn't, that's when I fall apart. Like, I've fallen apart like 2 or 3 times in my life. It is not good. All I do is I waste away. Like, I can just lay on this couch and that's that. I won't move. I won't want to eat. I won't have that energy. I think that's the easiest way to know if anything's going on with me. My food intake just drops. It drops. Like, I forget to eat. I forget to do anything. You're never really sure what's on my mind. It's just, I become very, very, very lethargic. Like, I lose all energy, all hope, all ability to argue, to fight, to team up. I just don't have anything. So, back to stress, because this is all about stress. How does one navigate stress? Because let's face it, stress is going to be a constant in our lives. Stress is going to follow us around. Stress of relationships, family, money, so many things stress us. Not to mention the biggest stressor at the moment, which is COVID. It's understandable. Every time you turn on the news, there's more people dead, there's more people infected, and if you lucky enough not to be affected by this, as in you don't have it and you don't know anyone with it, consider yourself one of the lucky few, because as things are going, it just seems to be getting worse. And when you couple that with the terror that everyone's feeling within the economy, you know that everything is a mess at this point. Like, nobody knows what to do. People are scrambling. People's businesses are falling. That's one of the most terrifying things. The alcohol industry in South Africa it's crippled. When you consider the number of bars, clubs, pubs we have, and the fact that all of them just had to suddenly stop without a word of warning, and there's no clear dates when they're coming back. How do they respond? How do they react? How are they treating their employees? From what I've seen, most of their employees aren't getting paid. A lot of their employees were paid weekly. And now when you go from having that to suddenly having it taken away, what happens to you? How do you behave? How do you respond? Especially if you somebody who was highly dependent on the entertainment industry. Maybe you're an artist, maybe you're a singer, maybe you're an events planner. All those things they've ceased. With no clear anything in sight. Most people aren't sure. Most businesses are failing. Some are using this time. Some are using this as their push to get stuff done. Are you one of those people? Are you one of those people who are saying, okay, this is what it is. This is where we are. This is pretty much it. Any worse than this and I'm dead. So if it don't get worse than this, what do we then do? We take it on. We go for it. We fight. We push. We make these things happen. You find a new job. Maybe you start a business, which none of those things will be easy. A lot of people are scrambling for jobs. Very few people are starting businesses. Everybody is beginning to pull their money in and hold it as long as they can, because all these COVID predictions they're frightening. They're absolutely frightening. People are saying 2 years for it to blow through. Can you imagine 2 years of wearing these face masks? I've gotten so annoyed with my face mask that now when I'm out and I'm wearing a face mask and somebody does something stupid, I mouth it with my mouth. So like I'm like, are you stupid? so so yeah, we're having fun with it, but in 20 years, the new kids, they'll never believe these days. They will never believe these days. They'll be like, all you guys are wearing masks. No way. No way. All these colorful masks, these blue ones. I've seen these floral ones. I think I saw one guy make one out of, I think it was a tacky. I'm not sure. I think it was a tacky. Or was it a sneaker? Who knows? It was looking really cool. And it's insane. It's really a time to be alive. And when you look at the stock market, that's even more. It's even more insane, because it was just being said. Who was it? It was somewhere between Robert Kiyosaki or Gary Vaynerchuk. I'm usually in that circle, and they were like, "This is the longest economic upward that we've been facing, right? And we all know the market is gonna crash, but we don't know when." And then COVID hits, and everything is falling to shit. Everything. So don't let the stress be something that keeps you down. Let that stress be something that motivates you. Let that stress be something that gives you that push. That's something that says, you have the time. Put that time to use. Learn a skill. Talk to family. Talk to long lost friends, lovers. Who knows? But don't waste your days away. Don't waste your days over stress. Sit down, think logically, plan your next step sequentially so that you understand where you are, where you need to be, and what you need to do to get there. I know it's scary. I know it's completely insane, and not many of us know where we are or what to do for that matter. But at the same time, people are depending on us. And when people are depending on you, you're required to make a plan. People have lived through this. People have lived through plagues, the flu. The human race is quite resilient. So, with that in mind, stay focused, stay confident. Don't allow the stress to be something that breaks you. Don't allow the lack of alcohol to be something that drives you insane, or the lack of cigarettes. This is the time for you to just focus on yourself, focus on your family. You have these days, you have these moments, put them to use. Let your people know how you feel about them. Don't wait until things are going wrong and things are falling apart even worse than they are now for you to finally make a move, for you to finally respond. If that's someone you're into and you're not sure if they're into you, now's the time. There's that job you wanted and you were never sure about it. Now you call up that manager and you tell them you want it. Because now's the time. There is no better time to fail than right now. If you're going to get your nose, go ahead and get them right now. While everything's falling apart, do what it is you need to do. You wanted to start that business, you start that business now. Don't let this be an excuse for you to sit back and let life happen to you. Because that's one of the worst feelings you can live through. Watching other people around you succeed at your very own ideas. I can't imagine anything worse than that. Now's the time. Put your mind to use. Put it to use. Teach yourself new stuff. Teach your kids stuff. Bond with your family. Don't allow these days to be days where you spend 50% of your time on Netflix, the other 50% making homemade alcohol. Somewhere in there, incorporate those things that you've long thought about. Read that book you've been wanting to read. I really hope you learned something today. I hope I've given you that push that you might have needed to get where you want to get. And I pray that you don't allow stress to overcome you, to overwhelm you, to leave you down in the dirt. Whatever's happening now, it'll pass. Give it a moment. Have an awesome day. Goodbye.